The final factor of production that we need to talk about is entrepreneurship, innovation, and technology. And this is probably the most important factor of production that we take a look at because it's the ability to take inputs, all of our other factors of production, and turn them into valuable products and services. Essentially, this factor of production is how most countries nowadays are going to sustain any type of economic growth at all, making new inventions, new products, and new processes. And remember, what did we need to pay our entrepreneurs in order for them to continue to innovate, give them that incentive? The payment that we make for entrepreneurship, technology, etc., are known as profits. So profits are the rewards entrepreneurs receive. The rewards entrepreneurs receive for doing two things. So entrepreneurs have a twofold task. Their first objective is to go ahead and combine all of our other factors of production, get the right mixture of them. So number one, combine land, labor, physical capital, we'll just say capital here, and capital to produce goods and services. To produce goods and services. Goods and services. So number one, the profits are the rewards entrepreneurs receive for, number one, combining land, labor, and capital to produce goods and services. They need the right mixture of each of these factors of production to produce a good and service that we as consumers want on the marketplace. However, there is no guarantee that their project is going to be a success, so therefore they are the ones that have to assume the risk as well. So number two objective that they're going to have is to assume the risk. So assume the risks associated with producing these goods and services. With producing these goods and services. These goods and services. So even though if they have the right mixture of goods and the right mixture of factors of production, there is no guarantee that it is something that we as consumers would want, so they have to bear the burden of the risk there. There's a very high chance that their project or investment can turn into a failure. So essentially what we see right here, these are the twofold objectives of any entrepreneur. They have to combine the factors of production and assume the risks. So suppose that the entrepreneur in one of his ventures is actually pretty successful and he's earning positive profits. So what do you expect to happen within the industry or within the marketplace if this one entrepreneur is earning profits? So suppose they're earning positive profits. Positive profits. What do you expect to happen in the marketplace here? Well, remember that if a firm or an entrepreneur is earning profits, it's going to incentivize other firms and other entrepreneurs to try to encroach on their territory, on his or her territory, in order to get their own profits as well. So if this one entrepreneur is earning profits, it's going to be a signal for other firms and other entrepreneurs that we as consumers want more of this good or service. So it's a signal for essentially other firms to enter into the industry. Signal for other firms, that consumers want more, of a good or service, of that good or service, good/service. And we can go ahead and see this with a specific example where we see a lot of goods and services that are very, very similarly related or very closely related to the original item. So suppose that you're on the market and you want to go ahead and buy a sleeved blanket. What was the firm or company or the good that sort of pioneered the sleeved blanket good? The first thing that should pop to your mind is going to be the Snuggie. So the Snuggie, very, very popular, still selling well today. It's basically the original sleeve blanket, which is basically a blanket that you can wear. However, because they were so successful with their infomercials and basically using it as a present for everybody, because they were so successful, other firms wanted to go ahead and enter into the sleeve blanket industry and come up with their own idea and own products. And what evolved from the Snuggie? Well, you have other competitors such as the Dujo, which is essentially another sleeve blanket, but it has these really gigantic hands or mittens on them. You have something known as the Toasty Wrap, which almost looks like a sort of parka of some sorts. Also another sleeve blanket. They market it as a sleeve blanket. You have something known as a Slanket, which is, I think, just an oversized Snuggie that we have right here. Maybe it can fit two people. I really don't see a lot of differences. I've also heard it called a Freedom Blanket before, but I think that's going to be a little bit more regional from where you grew up. Because whenever I search freedom blanket, it just gives me a blanket made out of guns, because this is America. We have a really strange fascination for guns. So freedom blankets for him or her. But from what we can see right here is that there are going to be very, very huge incentives for firms to enter into an industry where there is essentially going to be some type of profits. And we don't really want to see these competitors giving the same exact product as original, because then if they were able to sort of exploit that original product and earn profits for themselves, then there'd be really no incentive for any firm or any corporation to make original products or innovations or inventions. This is exactly why we have a very strong legal system within the United States, and we protect our intellectual property rights. So intellectual property rights, we've hit on this a little bit in the monopoly section, are a set of exclusive rights guaranteed to an inventor or a producer of creative work, allowing whoever creates it to earn profits over a fixed period. So basically, if you come up with a right idea, of an original idea or original work, you are the one that should be able to profit off of it. No one can steal that idea or steal that sort of work from you, or that product or invention, and profit off of it, so sort of exploit you. These rights do provide a very important incentive to continue to innovate, and as long as we have these intellectual property rights, we're going to be able to have new inventions, new products. And intellectual property rights do come in a variety of forms. We have 4 of them right here. We've talked about a few of them before. Number 1 is going to be a patent, which protects inventions. So these are things that you see on Shark Tank quite often. So basically, this is going to be a little bit more of a tangible item or tangible product. So if there's a product that has a unique sort of method or fits a sort of unique set of needs or wants, then you can probably file a patent for it. Number 2 is going to be the copyright, which protects writings, music, and other creative works. So if you come up with an idea, put it into book form, music form, software form, or other creative works, in art form as well, then you can file for some type of copyright. And we see that music copyright is something that's actually pretty hot nowadays, because there's a lot of musicians nowadays saying that, hey, this melody of a really famous song is something that I created first, so therefore I should be the ones that should be able to benefit off of it, not the famous person who is profiting off of it right now. And I think this sort of started off, one of the more famous cases was with that jerk who sings that song with Pharrell with all the half-naked dancing women in there. What's his face? His name, he's in The Masked Singer, Robin Thicke. So there we go, Robin Thicke, that jerk. So Robin Thicke and Pharrell, they came up with a song, Blurred Lines, and basically it was suggested that this song copied very heavily from one of Marvin Gaye's songs, Gotta Get It On, and basically Marvin Gaye's estate sued Pharrell and Robin Thicke, basically saying that, hey, these 2 songs are extremely similar to one another, so therefore we want to go ahead and make sure that Robin Thicke and Pharrell don't gain any profits off of it, because it is Marvin Gaye's original work, and they actually did win. So therefore Robin Thicke and Pharrell are no longer able to profit off of their song Blurred Lines. And this is going to be sort of a somewhat controversial topic nowadays, because we do see a lot of people filing these sort of copyright infringements just because they want to do so, and they think that's going to be a quick and easy buck for them to say that, hey, they're copying off of me, so therefore I should be the one that gets all of the money from this. So artists these days have to be very careful that they don't necessarily just steal from other people right off the bat. And we can go ahead and see another example of this. So Ariana Grande, just a few years ago, had a really hit song called 7 Rings, and if you notice the 7 Rings song, it basically is taking the melody straight off of one of the songs from The Sound of Music, A Few of My Favorite Things. It's exactly the same melody, but she wasn't sued for copyright infringement because she was able to go ahead and sample that song. She had to go ahead and pay royalties to the song creators of A Few of My Favorite Things, and our contract, I believe it stated that roughly about 85 to 90% of any of the profits that she made off of that song had to go to the original creators. That's just how similar or how much she sampled from that particular soundtrack from that movie. And if you ever listen to the song 7 Rings, it's absolutely terrible. It's basically just her singing why she's really, really rich and why we're really, really, really poor. It's absolutely terrible music, but that's what it is. Third type of intellectual property right we can go ahead and take a look at is the trademark, which protects company names and logos. So there are a lot of logos that we associate with companies. For McDonald's, we have the golden arches. For NBC, we have the peacock. For Apple, we have the Apple logo with the bite taken out of the apple. And these are all things that are going to be protected under trademark intellectual property rights. And then finally here, we have industrial designs, which protect designs of products such as that of a car. So if we want to go ahead and take a look at the Mini Cooper has a really unique design, and that's going to be protected under industrial designs. Another company, Dyson makes very modern fans and vacuum cleaners that don't work very well, but because these are such unique designs, they're going to be protected under industrial designs. So all four of these intellectual property rights, patents, copyrights, trademarks, and industrial designs are all going to be very important reasons and incentives for people to continue to innovate and come up with new inventions, products, innovations, and processes. With all of this in mind, this will wrap up chapter number 12, where we took a look at our other factors of productions and the markets that develop for them. We talked about land, we talked about physical capital, and all the finance that goes along with that. Remember that there's going to be some type of discounting or time value of money that is needed when we want to talk about the optimal investment in physical capital. We talked about human capital and seeing exactly what the optimal amount of human capital is going to be, why so many people should be investing in education or finding a low cost to gaining their education. And then finally, we took a look at technology, innovation, and entrepreneurship. Great job for this chapter. We'll go ahead and wrap up the rest of the semester with our final chapter, chapter number 13, where we talk about the environment next.